The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Good morning, everyone. 2 minutes after 7, 7:02, 630 KHOW. Monday, the 16th morning of May. 71 the high, 69 Tuesday, 60 on Wednesday. Is with great respect and honor. First of all, I say, please say good morning. And he was released from Fort Leavenworth Penitentiary, where he served almost 6 months for refusing orders over his doubts about the eligibility of Barack Obama. Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Terry Lakin. Dr. Lakin, good morning. Welcome to the show, and thank you.
Well, good morning, Peter. Thank you for having me on the show, and
indeed,
thank you for all your support throughout this time.
It's more than my pleasure. And Marcos Giavillano is with us as well, and he was the guy we first met him as he founded the Terry Lakin Action Fund. Hey, Marco, good morning. Thanks for coming on the show again.
Good morning, Peter, and thank you for your really consistent assistance for Terry Lakin. It's been a real pleasure and fun to see him back.
Yeah, I know we have to be cautious here because there are rules that apply to Dr. Lakin from the government. And Marco, would you explain that first? Because I don't really want to ask Terry that. I want you to. What are the rules that apply to us speaking?
Sure. Terry is under the same restrictions that he is he technically is not discharged as an officer, which he technically still is, though without the authority of an officer. So he can't do anything that any of your other military friends wouldn't do. And so that's really about it. He can't speak with any derogatory language towards the president, can't incite other military, for example, to follow his pattern and so forth. But he's free, and you're welcome to ask him about anything about his prison experience, the books he's read, his thoughts on the Constitution, his faith experience, all kinds of things. And so I'm just going to let you go for it. Terry's got lots of great stories.
Dr. Lakin, you got a release for you got time off, didn't you? I've read this over the weekend. Good behavior, correct?
Well, yes. The system is set up to allow 5 days of good conduct time off per month, as long as you're following the rules and not creating any disturbances.
And if I'm out of line, just say, hey, Peter, and I'll back away. But were you shocked that you received Fort Leavenworth out of what happened?
Okay.
No, I don't want to jam you up, man.
I was prepared for it, and I had to prepare myself mentally. Without knowing much, I prepared myself for being in the old detention barracks that I had visited as a medical student, and I still thought that there was, hard labor of making big rocks into little rocks, and I was prepared to do that for 2 or 3 years.
May I ask you if it's okay, your reaction after everything you went through? Did I only see the president call an impromptu press conference and show, quote, a birth certificate? Or is that out of line again? I'm sorry if it is.
Well, no, it's, I would say, a little relief, and that's basically all I was asking for, that I thought should be shown to the public. And the only thing that I thought I was entitled to have a right to ask for. Not for myself, but for everybody. And it's up to other parts of our government to determine validity or definitions or whatever. But at least we have a little bit more data now.
Marco, do you have a thought on that?
Yes, and Terry stated it correctly. Peter, we get a couple of weeks ago, the Democratic National Governors Association sent out this fundraising letter pounding away at, quote, birthers. And they said, in spite of overwhelming evidence to the contrary, people still don't believe that he was born in the States. Well, the fact is there is no evidence. That's what's so funny. The U.S. public, let's see what we have, Peter. We have 2 scanned documents. They may be real, they may be not, but no one has ever seen them. Can you imagine doing, even in business, even if you hired an assistant at the radio station, you would do a extremely thorough background check, as I asked a reporter from CNN the other day the same question. It is amazing that the press has given up so quickly on this scanned document. We're talking about the President of the United States. So Terry's right. It's a great start, but why isn't anybody demanding complete and total verification of these facts? There's already a lot of discrepancies in it. So that's really the issue. So is it a good start? Absolutely. Let's finish it.
Yeah, what amazed me, Colonel Terry Lakin's with us, and the head of the Terry Lakin Action Fund, which, again, we urge people, and I will be contributor to it as well. But was interesting to me after all of this, and after Colonel Lakin goes to Leavenworth, and I think there's a three-prong here, and again, this is aimed at you, Marco. One was the arrival of Trump. Two was 12 or 13 states had passed legislation that a bona fide must be produced, and the third one was the coming Corsi book. All of that,
Correct.
and then all of a sudden there's this appearance that would have saved Terry. I mean, the president could have saved Terry, and I'm sorry.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. I was just personally kind of put off by that press conference because it was treated so lightly. It's not just Terry, as you know, Peter. You're one of the many people, the perhaps 100 or so core people that have poured thousands of hours into this, genuinely trying to get to the truth, and it was dealt with so lightly. It's like, oh, my dog found it under the bed. Here it is. I mean, if it was so easy, why wasn't it given 6 months ago or a year and a half ago when Paul Jensen first requested it, and when Neil Puckett requested it, and when Matt Kempkis requested this information, and 100 of other people? Why was Terry put through this? We were not determined the validity or not. Simply nothing was forthcoming, and still barely anything has been. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the challenge,
What was it like, and exactly how much time did you do, Doctor?
It was 5 months.
Right.
I received a day per month for our work detail that we were assigned to also if we performed good at that work detail.
Did you have a cellmate?
I did for the first, when I was in the general population under medium security for nearly 4 months, I had a cellmate, and just a wonderful soldier that I would say, 70, 80, 90% of the soldiers in there are good soldiers that have been trained and have technical skills and knowledge, and they're just not being utilized, and I'm astonished at some of their sentences. They're kind of a forgotten population. I mean, we take care of our wounded warriors and all our wonderful soldiers that are overseas and their families, but the incarcerated soldiers are, I think, forgotten too.
Will you be able to continue as a physician, practice medicine?
That's my job over the next few weeks is to square that away, and I'm very hopeful. I don't believe this incident had anything to do with my medical judgment or practice, and I hope that the state medical boards will see that too.
The military and you have ended. Is that fair to say? But you're still an officer as we speak.
Right. They haven't issued me a formal discharge form yet, so they could call me back for anything to include another court-martial.
They could do it to you again?
Certainly. Yes, I'm under their rules still, and I if I were to do something out of line, unbecoming of an officer, then they could do that.
Where are you stationed now, or where are you in terms of what happens next?
Well, I believe they transferred my assignment to Fort Sill, Oklahoma,
okay.
And that's where all the inmates are assigned to.
So you'll go to Sill. Will you go to Sill as a lieutenant colonel and a physician, or will you just go to Sill and wait?
No, my status now is on appellate leave, and I don't have to report to anybody. I don't receive any pay. I receive just minimal benefits, and until my appeal process is finalized, then I'm under that assignment or that duty. Appellate leave, no pay, and I don't have to report to anybody or any place.
Where's your family now?
We reside in Maryland. And,
okay. How are they doing?
My wife has been incredible to get through this. I mean, she's had some experience with several deployments before, with me being gone for a year, and so this is a relatively short deployment for her. But I miss the kids remarkably, and just being able to hold my 3-year-old again, and my 8 and 12-year-old is wonderful.
Marco, anything you'd like to add to anything that Colonel Lakin's saying?
Well, only that, as those of you who follow this know, there's been a huge amount of criticism leveled against him in particular because of his visibility. And we just want people to understand that his motivations were nothing but, never have been anything but, the integrity of the Constitution. He has no malice towards Barack Obama. And you can go back and watch all the videos. He simply wants the truth, as many other people do. And so we're just encouraging people to support him. He took a huge sacrifice and really, I think, has really catapulted this forward. So, as you said, Peter, people would go to terrylakin.com, read the site. If you feel so moved, please consider supporting Terry, at least till he's gainfully employed again. So,
I know that you guys, we spoke, Colonel Lakin, with your brother throughout all of this. He's just a good guy. And I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, no, he's a remarkable brother. And
yeah. But I know you're a Greeley kid, and one of the things that we thought was, I'd love to see you come back and practice medicine in Greeley, and we'd all become, we'd be sending people up the highway. Go see Lakin. But I don't know. It's an interesting moment. And as I've said, this ain't over. There's still another 27 or 28 bona fides. There still is a missing time. There still is the life story that isn't true. There still remains this most recent book about his mother that doesn't hold water. And yet the press and others have gotten a document that people can take down 6 layers, and they simply say the game is over. I'm going to go to Marco on this one. I don't want Colonel to speak about this, but Marco, this game ain't over, is it?
Well, no, simply because of the preponderance of evidence that has not been reviewed. And really what it comes down to, very much like Donald Trump said, is if you went back to my kindergarten, Peter, you could find hundreds of people who know me. Mm-hmm. People find me on Facebook. People find me on LinkedIn. You've got the president who just simply we know nothing about him. And it's really extraordinary that, he may be eligible. I don't know, but we just don't know. The fact is there's no evidence to prove it either way at this point, and I think that is ludicrous for a person in that position. So no, it's not over. And if you read Corsi's book, Jerome Corsi's book, you'll see it's not about the birth certificate in spite of the title. It's about a huge, giant vacuum. So there you go.
It will happen. I urge people to go to our website, khow.com, and there's a link to the Terry Lakin Action Fund, and help him. I plan on it like we have in the past, and this fight's not over, Colonel. I think you're an extremely brave guy and a tough guy, and you went out on the edge, and I thought that was amazing. You had been sentenced, were doing your time, and the one document that you had asked for suddenly appears in a press conference, and it's the end of story. Why didn't that appear prior to you being sentenced is beyond me, where the man sits and watches a very good, brave man go to jail was beyond me. It really was. Marco, a last comment, and then we'll get a last comment from Colonel Lakin.
Well, only that it's been a privilege to be involved in this for the last 18 months because I started with Paul Jensen and Margaret Hemingway on Safeguard, and it has been a privilege to know Terry and his family. They're just a hugely great family. Terry is exactly what you see. That is him. And when people meet him, they can see that. So, and again, Peter, thank you so much for your really consistent support of this. Back to Terry.
Last comment, if you would, Dr. Lakin.
Well, Peter, I can't thank you enough, and I can't thank you enough for the support from all the people in Colorado and all around the nation that sent me extremely touching letters and very supportive wishes and prayers. I mean, it got me through a difficult time.
Well, to you and your brother and your family and everybody, to Marco and all the guys in the fight ain't over. And Colonel, welcome back. And Marco, thanks, man. Thanks,
Thank
you guys.
you, Peter.
All right, guys,
Anytime.
be safe. All right, bye. 303-713-8255. There was a lot of constraints put on Lakin, and we were given a 4-page list of things that short, sweet, and to the point. All right, 303-713-8255, 16 after the hour. The end of the world is next Saturday, but what's striking to me is what's the difference between global warming, the end of the world, and end of the world. We'll play those commercials. They're really interesting. Stay here. Let's get you to work. 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station. Traffic time. Here's Aaron O'Neill.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.